Now that can be pretty expensive to do, and this process has been going on for a couple of years for sure, like at least 10 years. But now you can do this in-house, and even more, you can do it for cheap, and you can do it fast, and it's going to be accurate. So we're really excited about sharing this with you. It's basically software that you can subscribe to from the 3M company. I'll give you the link at the end. So think about it. In the first 3 to 5 seconds, that's about all the time you have to get your package noticed at shelf. We can now predict what shoppers are likely to see in those 3 critical seconds. This virtual eye tracking analyzes the package design and uses algorithms that have been developed by research scientists to simulate what people see during the first 3 to 5 seconds of viewing a package. So if you knew that information, wouldn't that help you with increasing your, not only your confidence in the design selection, but also the client's confidence? And this is what the dashboard looks like. This first screen in the bottom left-hand corner is once you log into 3M, the VAS, Visual Attention Software, you can upload an image. It's a real simple process. Click to analyze it, and the software does the rest. So what I thought I'd do is share with you an example and take you through some of the features. So this is a package that we designed a couple of years ago for Hostess. They came out with a bakery line of products, bread loaves, hamburger, hot dog buns, different kinds of breads. And as a designer, one of the things that we want to do is make sure that there's particular areas of interest that we want to make sure that we're featuring and that the consumer sees. So certainly the Hostess logo, which is a strong brand name in the United States, we want that to be seen. First and foremost, people will connect with that and put their trust in that brand. Secondly, we wanted them to see what is the product. It's classic white bread. And then thirdly, we got a big window here, so we want to make sure that the consumer is seeing the bread through the window. So by identifying those areas on the platform, we can measure the probability of those areas being seen. And the higher probability of grabbing their attention, the more likely they're going to be taking action on the package. So what I did was drew boxes around the areas that I wanted to be seen, and then the software will analyze those areas to tell you the probability of fixation or seeing those areas within the first 3 to 5 seconds. That's really kind of that subconscious time of where your eyes just drawn to the package, and then your consciousness goes into action and kind of connects the dots. So if you're subconsciously bringing them to the right place on the package, then consciously they're going to be focused in those same areas. So that's going to be very effective. So here, this performed perfectly for us. 89% on the Hostess logo, 82% on classic white bread, and 62% probability of seeing that actual product through the window, the bread product. The next area that you can test is by looking at a heat map of the package. And what this shows is that the hotter the color, the higher probability the content will be seen during that first glance, those first 3 to 5 seconds. So where are the hot spots here? The Hostess logo, classic white bread. Those are 2 areas. There's a 3rd area up here, up near the twist tie. And we've got some very contrasty colors happening up here with the red and white. And that's probably pulling some attention up there as well. So, but again, and if I look at the principal display panel, or one of the 2 principal display panels, the end of the bread is another one that we would test. But if we're looking top down at the loaf, our logo and our white bread is coming across really strong. The next one, which I really love, this is one of my favorites, is looking at the 4 most likely locations that the eye is going to go to in order, in viewing order. I kind of say that this is affirming our communication priority. In this case, a communication priority is the hostess logo, classic white bread, the bread through the window, and here it's showing a 4th, where's your eye going to go next, and it comes right back to the logo. So again, a great performance of this particular package design. It's quickly communicating the information that you need to have the consumer see in the first couple of seconds. And so think if you had all this information on those 6 designs that I originally showed, and you could see how each of them perform. So some might perform stronger than others. And even though subjectively you might like one more than the other, knowing where the consumer eye is going to go subconsciously and then convert that into conscious behavior would be really important. So what you can do is also see some other variables besides the ones that I just showed you here. I just showed the main ones. When you use this eye tracking software, you'll be able to check out these other variables. But again, this is really important for determining, which package designs are likely to perform the best in terms of visual attention. So you can do that for your conference meetings to help tilt decisions one way or another, but also you can do this just as part of the packaging design process to adjust the elements to improve the packaging performance. So you could strengthen some areas and make other areas smaller if it's gaining too much attention. The next area I want to, so that's one of our main tools that we provide. It's very low cost, so we just include that as part of our service. The other one that we leverage highly is digital consumer surveys. And due to technology, it's now really affordable to start to gut check their package designs with consumers. So again, this is something that, your client might go outside and hire a research company and test your package designs with consumers, but now this is a service that you can offer in-house. And how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of online research services that you can subscribe to. And really, this is the latest evolution of consumer panel research. This is whereby it's DIY. You can do it yourself. You can log into a portal, write up a questionnaire, upload some packaging images, and immediately select from appropriate groups of consumers who will complete the survey. The recruitment's in real time, and then you turn it live. I'll share a link at the end of some of these research services that you can review. So here's a sample dashboard. that the top one kind of shows the, for one of the tests that we ran, the demographics, male, female, the age group, and where in the United States consumers took the survey from, where they live, with the markets that they live, and where the participation was from. And then this bottom screen shows you the questions, the results, and areas where you can see the reports and download the reports. So what I thought I'd do is, maybe the best way to kind of share how this works is just using a very simple example. We go typically more in depth with our questions, but for the purpose of this presentation today, I wanted to keep it simple. So for a product called Green Life, which is an alkaline bottled water, which we did some package design around, we wanted to know which of the 4 packages for Green Life resonated best with consumers. So here's our 4 designs, and basically we put together a simple 7-question survey. We defined who our audience up front, who our target audience was, who would take the survey, and we had 7 questions. Choose choose the brands of bottled water you have purchased in the past, and the alkaline waters that you've purchased in the past. So we're just kind of warming them up, confirming that they're bottled water drinkers, they drink alkaline water. And then for each of the 4 designs, we ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how appealing this package is. And we do that in a random order as well, so that we're not favoring one over the next. And then lastly, we ask them about the brand name Green Life and what that says to them, because that was already established. So we wanted to see if our brand story resonated with them.
Hey, Kevin, just to let you know, we've got probably 3 or 4 more minutes, and then we've got a bunch of questions that have come in. So
Ooh, okay.
just want to make sure that we get to those questions.
Let's go through this fast. So here's the answers. I'm not going to go through them, but you can kind of see how the survey gives you answers. You can look at this and make your own guess. Hey, which one performed the best? Which one do you like the best? Click to say it was the bottom right-hand corner one that did the best. And it had 8 stars. The other ones all hovered around 6, 9, 7, 2 in the low, right around 7. But not only just scoring these designs, what you can do is get words. You get the voice of the consumer. This is my favorite part. What do you like about this package design? What could be done to improve it? So, I like the colors. I don't think anything needs improving. They could say, the cap needs improvement. I wish I had a sports top to the bottle. So I can start to pick up things like, oh, we maybe got to look at a better looking cap on this bottle. But you can pick up other tidbits. And then the last question was about what's the brand name say? It creates a word cloud based on the words that they are actually using. This is what the consumers are saying. Green Life focuses on cleaner, more natural lifestyle. They're eco-friendly, great tasting water, natural and healthy, quality product, geared towards people who eat organic, recycle, and are into sustainability. I mean, heck, my copywriter couldn't say anything better than that. So, but this is what consumers are saying, which is awesome. So I'll wrap it up here with just reminding everybody that you can really use a smart set of tools for package design to get that voice of the consumer in that conference room. The 3 resources here, I'm sure we'll share this deck out with you guys. vas.3m.com for eye tracking. This is a link that we'll post for looking at top panel research companies. And then also, if you go to our website, there's a chapter I wrote in this book on package design and the role of the consumer. I go into a lot of detail about what I just presented. And this is my contact information. So with that, Adam, I'll turn it back to you.
Awesome. Yeah, we got some great questions, and I wanted to make sure that we got to those because I think I think they're important. So you and I are both in the United States, and so the question is around USA, not the United States of America, but your unique sustainable advantage. So somebody says, what makes you different as a company? Why would somebody choose your company over another option? That's a fun, not so loaded question, I'm sure, but that was one question that came in. So what is kind of your, for PKG underneath the Hanger 12 umbrella, what makes you guys different from other companies?
Well, we actually have it trademarked. We believe in the consumer first. And we say that's our only rule, that if you don't appreciate the value of what the consumer has to say about the packages that we create, then we're probably not a good fit for you. But we collaborate with consumers during that package design process. So it's just not our designers designing, but it's also getting feedback from the consumers to help refine those designs. And I think that makes us different than others, using tools like this.
Yeah, these are great tools. And also shout out to Qualtrics out here in Utah. So that was fun to see those guys up there. Know a bunch of people who work there. Yeah, it kind of reminded me, if you've read anything by like Daniel Kahneman or Jonathan Haidt, they talk a lot about psychology and this idea of how we're all emotional elephants, is what Jonathan Haidt says. We're emotional elephants being driven by a tiny intellectual rider. So when we bring that idea into packaging design, I think it's critically important to understand, like you've done so well, to say what are the emotions of the person. Not everybody's buying, intellectually, and that kind of goes into this next question. Somebody asked about sustainability and recycling into your final packaging design and solution. How do you account for that? I know you spent, you had 20 minutes, so it's not like you can get fully in depth, but what does that factor in when you're designing packaging?
Yeah, it's really important. Certainly, that's one of the top areas of interest for consumers, and certainly even like a product like Green Life bottled water, right? It's being delivered in plastic. That's not a good thing, right? But that's what bottled water comes in typically. So what do we do? What is that brand doing to be sustainable? That's the consumer even said that I expect you to have a sustainable mindset. So are they sourcing from recycled plastics? Are they is it recyclable? What are they doing as a company to be sustainable? Yes, that even in designing packaging, if we're working on a product for holding cheese, crumbled cheese, and we had a plastic tub with a lid and an outer band around it, a chipboard band. Well, you could eliminate that chipboard band, right? Less materials, less energy used to create that, less trees cutting down. So all those factors go into play from a structural standpoint, and that was validated by the comments from the consumers.
And does the 3M software, I know it's doing heat maps and visual eye tracking, which is interesting. Does it account at all for materials, or is it, a how to recycle logo or something like that? Is that factored into it, or is it mostly kind of design and graphics and eye tracking? I know it's not all things to all people, so I'm just curious what's the extent of the software.
It's not going to look at the sustainable aspect uniquely. But if that's an important message that you want to communicate on your packaging and on your face panels, then it's going to look at how well consumers see that. So, so size of it, location, color, all those factors will come into play to determine whether you're communicating that message to your consumer.
Yeah, and it's so important to know, and I completely agree. It's funny because when you were mentioning water bottles, if I'm driving in the car, I will only buy a water bottle with a flip top sport thing on it, because I don't want to be sitting there having to worry about taking the lid off and, how am I going to drink this in the car? And it's been funny to see when you look at the price points of these water bottles. I don't know what the cap difference is. I work in labels and flexible packaging, not necessarily in rigid packaging. So, but I don't know what that cap difference is, but I can tell you I spend probably $1 more on a bottle of water if it has that cap than I would otherwise. So I'm sure we could have a much longer conversation about this, but it's fascinating to kind of hear from you at that starting point of working with the brands to make some of these decisions and finding creative ways to pull in the consumer without having to do a lot of expensive, running up a bunch of A/B testing and putting it into market and buying printing plates and doing all this stuff. To be able to get data pretty quickly digitally, it is sustainable and is critically important. And hopefully there's some people listening who can grab hold of those tools and work with you guys. So,
yep, we kind of think of it as a gut check. You can do these are things that you couldn't do 10 years ago. It'd be way too expensive, but now you can do that gut check and get insights from the consumers, like you said, the importance of the cap on the bottle. So
yeah,
it's a reminder to that. So
it's not just someone sitting around saying, I really like how this color makes me feel. It's like, well, but how do your consumers feel about that Pantone color? I think that's so important. So, those were our questions. So, Kevin, I really appreciate you jumping on. I know we've got your contact information up there. I'm sure that we'll have some other ways. Can people find you on LinkedIn in case they were driving and listening or something like that and couldn't write this down? What would be easiest way to get a hold of you without having to?
Yeah, LinkedIn, I think, is the easiest. Kevin Keating Chicago is my handle on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Kevin, for jumping in first and taking us down this path. I know I learned a ton. I wrote down a bunch of notes. I've got some people to connect you to. And I'll even give a plug for a packaging design podcast that's out there, hosted by my good friend, Avelio Matos. He's got a great podcast on packaging design. So hopefully you guys can connect up and you can share there. I think it'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, Kevin. All right. Well, looks like we've got a little bit of an audible here in our program, which is fine. It's not in the Bible, but I am a former pastor, and so this is a favorite saying of mine: "Blessed are the flexible, for they shall not be broken." I forget who I heard it from, but we're going to go ahead and be a little bit flexible and shift things up here. We are going to hear next from Aviv Ratzman. Aviv comes from the family that we'll call it the HP family. There's been a lot of cool things happening over in Israel from HP. He went into Hycon and was the CEO and co-founder of Hycon and has now launched off into this cool and exciting new venture called Compack. And he is going to be discussing how we can simplify the supply chain in packaging. So Aviv, I hope I have not done a tremendous disservice to all that you've accomplished with my introduction. So feel free to share some more, but thanks for coming on this think tank and being willing to share. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here. I will share my presentation.
I can see it on my end. So, oh, it looks like we've got, hang on. There we go.
It's okay?
I think we're good to go. By the way, it's nice to see you again. Aviv and I have been able to meet a couple times before, so it was fun to see you on this panel.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you, Adam. Okay, so thank you, Adam, for the introduction. And as you mentioned, I came from a digital background. Worked for HP Indigo. It was Indigo and purchased by HP in the area of digital printing machines. And then moved to and established Icon. Icon develop and manufacture digital cutting and creasing machines and change the finishing market. And after 11 years, and now I established Compack. And Compack, the target is to connect between brands and online custom packaging vendors. And I will talk a little bit more about it, but we'll start from the trends, where the market is heading, and then we'll talk about what are the solutions that exist today in the market. So if we look at the market trends, so e-commerce is growing like crazy, and COVID-19 actually push it even further. So we see more demand for packaging. I'm writing here next day delivery, but it's actually the same day delivery or a 1 hour delivery, or so everything should be fast. Customize, it's important. We see in e-commerce unboxing experience as important need. And why? Because the consumers, part of them are not going to the retail shop, and they are buying online, and they would like to get the same experience that they are entering to a retail shop. So today, to get a brown box that the product is so small and you get a big box empty, this is not a nice unboxing experience, and we will talk a little bit about it. Omni-channel, because of e-commerce, the brands are selling on the net, they are selling in the retail shop, they are using social media to push their brand, and they must unify their brand experience. This is critical. So packaging is a differentiator, it can help them. This is the first thing that the consumer will see when they will get it at home and also on the shelf. So this is critical, and because of the omni-channel or multi-channel, there is a need to be fast, because if you need to change, you need to change the entire supply chain for everything here. So this is critical, and sustainability is critical point. And before that, Kevin talked about the consumers. So the consumers are pushing for sustainability. The young generation are pushing for sustainability. They would like to see brands that are behaving nicely and understand what is sustainability and improve his sustainability or carbon footprint. So sustainability became critical, and we see a change by the brands, and I will talk a little bit more about it. And what are if we look at the challenges that brands are facing, so we see a lot of different challenges. One of them is the time to market is long, and brands would like to bring products very fast to the market. So they develop the product, and then they have to work on the package, and sometimes the package can delay the time that they can present the product on the shelf or sell it online. The complicated supply chain is connected to that, because if the supply chain is complicated, then time to market became longer. So Brands would like to see simplification in the supply chain. It's critical for them. It will help them to bring the product fast to the market, but also to save costs. Another thing that is critical for the brands is design capabilities. And today, the designer, they have ideas that actually when they bring their ideas to the production, they have limitation in the production, and the production actually dictates what level of creativity you are going to have. Shelf appeal is critical. You would like to be different on the shelf. You can go to a retail shop and see 100 different products on the shelf, the same product, but with different packaging, and you need to choose. So how the consumer will take your product and not someone else. So shelf appeal is critical, and you need to be different in order to make sure that your product will be in the eyes of the consumer. High carbon footprint, we discuss it. Create unboxing experience is critical when we are talking about e-commerce, but also when you take a box from the shelf and you would like to open it, and to see that the unboxing experience is nice, that you have a good perforation, for example, to open the cereal box or others. Omnichannel, we discuss it a little bit. Personalization and customization is important, especially when we are talking about e-commerce. Subscription boxes is actually the way of brand to connect with the consumer directly. And for that, they need to treat them personally. So this is important. Anti-counterfeiting is critical for different market sectors, and cost reduction is also one of the things that the brands are pushing for. We can see here, if we are looking at sustainability in the left side, you can see that the big brands like Mondelez, Nestle, Walmart, and Amazon, they are pushing to change their behavior in terms of sustainability, and they put a target for themselves, 2025, as a milestone to do a big change in terms of their carbon footprint, and they are investing billions of dollars in order to improve their carbon footprint. The same for Amazon, that Amazon is doing it for themselves, but also is pushing the brand owners to improve if they would like to work with them. So Amazon creates a regulation like the frustration-free packaging and others in order to improve sustainability and enhance the consumer experience. In the right side, what you can see is this is from D.S. Smith, the Empty Space Economy report, that 25% or more of what businesses are shipped is empty, is air. And this is critical. And when we are talking about simplifying the supply chain, it's critical to make sure that the package that is protecting the product will be in the size of the product, and that you're not going to ship air anymore. This is a big problem. This slide, you can see here that in the last 5 years, actually, if you people are asking Google, how can I get a custom packaging? And this is the change here from 2015 to until today, is that the number of requests for custom packaging are going tremendously in Google. So just if you go to Google Trend and ask for custom packaging trend, this is what you're going to see. So this is the demand from the market. And actually, the target is to make sure that we can provide a solution to the consumers and the brands for custom packaging. So if we need to compare between analog and digital in the products that we have in the market, in the machinery that we have, in order to improve everything that we discuss about the brands. So we see here the long tail graph and the differences between short run and long runs. So in the long runs, there are products like cigarettes, cereals, different food products. But in the long tail, you have big amount of the market is there. So in short run, you can find cosmetics and pharma and food, luxury goods, electronics. You can see on the shelf in the retail store so many products, and they are not running in long runs. It's actually a short run for a packaging player. Of course, when we're talking about customization and personalization. So the process analog to digital, we see in the last 20 years a big change from analog to digital in the machinery. And if we take the packaging and divide it into 3 sectors, the pre-press, printing, and finishing. So pre-press today is 100% digital. Printing is moving into digital very fast, and the growth rate is 20% year over year. And finishing is moving into digital. Here you can see die cutting. And digital die cutting, this is the place that I came from, Hicon. And Hicon is doing digital cutting and creasing, and actually complete a digital transformation in packaging. Here we are talking about folding carton and corrugated packaging. So this is a nice example from a customer in the US, a brand owner that actually had to bring close to 5,000 pieces to the retail shop. And actually the retail shop told him that if he's not going to bring them till tomorrow morning, they are taking him out of the shelf. And they approached one of the digital converters in the US. They send the artwork in the afternoon, and 8 o'clock in the morning, actually, they send out the package to the brand, and he'll be able to put his product on the shelf in the right timing. But here we are talking about short run. So this is a short run, and you need to make sure that you can deliver it the day after. So this is critical. So when we are talking about simplifying the supply chain, we can look on how the market changed along the years. So web to print, this trend, this market actually created in 2000. And today there are companies like Simpress and Shutterfly and others that can provide you printing material the day after. And to think about it, that Shutterfly, for example, you can order a photo album of one. This was something that you would never do it before 2000. So the photo album or an album or a book, you never can order a book of one. And this is today a market that everybody understands that you can order it and get it in few days. Web to pack is now getting into the same area, and Web to pack established a few years ago, and you have now the ability to order packaging in the internet. I'm talking here about folding carton and corrugated packaging. You can go to one of the websites, choose the packaging style, change dimension, add graphic, define quantity, define the turnaround, and there are players that can bring you, the turnaround can be 24 hours, and order and wait for the product that will get in few days to your doorstep. So this is where the market is changing to. And if we are looking at packaging, that delivery time is around sometimes 6 to 8 weeks. And the quantities, you have minimum order quantity that can be thousands. So now you can order even 100 boxes and get it in few days. So this is where the market is changing, and actually provide a solution to the brand requests. So this is the web to pack. This is the market of packaging. You have the marketing and sales. You have the packaging design, production, and shipment. But when you're going to web to pack, actually the sales is online, and the packaging design, the structural design is online. Graphic design, part of it you can do it online, and part of it you can take it to your graphic design and create it by yourself. So Compack, the new company that I established, is a marketplace for web to pack, and web to pack bring a lot of values to the brand owner. It helps him to reduce storage. He can order what he needs when he needs it. Of course, bring it fast to the market. It's helping to be more sustainable because you order what you need. And most of the time in packaging, brand owners are throwing away, even before using it one time, around 20 to 30% of their stock, because they are doing change in the product, they have changes in the graphics. So a lot of changes they need to do, the brands are doing, but then they need to order packaging from scratch. And by able to order just what they needed when they need it, it's helped them to be more sustainable. Of course, that in web to pack you can see your order online. You can understand what will be the price when you and to order just small amount from each one of them, and then to go to the mass production. So this is where web to pack can help brands business. Here I will show you just a 2-minute video about how Compack website is working.
In this video, we will show you how to use our comparison engine. When choosing a custom packaging manufacturer for your brand, it's important to make sure the company's standards align precisely with your business model. Knowing what to expect at every step of the process gives you the control and flexibility you need to break through the market and grow your business to new heights. Here are 3 important things to know when designing and ordering custom packaging online. The first thing you should always verify when ordering custom packaging online is how many packages you would like to order. Do you need many? Or are you just looking to order a few custom packages to test the market? Based on the quantity you are looking for, you sort through our packaging vendors who have the capabilities to deliver as little as a single customized box. Delivery lead times are crucial when it comes to choosing your packaging manufacturer, because long wait times could leave your product sitting on a shelf or being delivered to the end consumer without any protective or branded packaging. The turnaround time for our online vendors can be as little as 24 to 48 hours. You have the freedom of control over the entire design process, whether you're designing it yourself or have help from professionals. You can employ parametric capabilities right on the website, do your own graphic design online, or download by cutting files and add graphics to external sources. Compack gives you access to reputable vendors who are more than happy to accommodate your request for a sample. After all, it's your package, and everything has to be just right.
And this is my last slide. Actually, Compack connects brand designers and online custom packaging vendors. So for the brands, Compack is a platform to connect with their vendors with fast turnaround and minimum order quantities. And also Compack supporting brands that are seeking for few vendors in different places. And for packaging converters and printers, Compack is a platform to present their services and to connect with brand and designers. And also Compack provide services to packaging vendors that would like to move online and would like the support in order to do it correctly. So this is my presentation, and thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thanks, Aviv. We'll digitally clap for you. So there's a question that came up in the chat, and I had a question. So this was earlier on in your presentation. Somebody asked, how are you seeing companies deal with liquid product packaging from a logistics point of view? So I know that your presentation was largely about kind of web to pack, but having a background, I know that I've seen a lot of innovation around, for example, like tablets of toothpaste instead of tubs of toothpaste, or little tablets of, think of like dishwasher detergent, or I even saw some it was like sheets of laundry detergent, so you could buy like 64 loads of laundry in this little chipboard box. I think the company was called True Earth. But what are some things that you're seeing in terms of liquid product packaging from a logistics point of view?
Yeah, liquid product packaging. When it's come to, I'm familiar in the area of folding carton, not in the area of if you're talking about glass or cans or other different type of packaging. So still in terms of if I'm talking about sustainability, the sustainability part, it's not easy, and we see changes in liquid packaging to even back to glass, because it's easier to recycle. So you see trends inside the liquid packaging between the segments, between cans and the glass and the folding carton, to the places that are more sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've seen, there's a company here in the United States called Truman's Cleaning. They've done a really great job with basically shipping you concentrate, and that's been around for a while, but they ship you concentrate and they use packaging as a driving differentiator, and then you fill it up with your own water. Their whole premise was, why are we shipping water all around the globe when we could just be shipping you these little cartridges that you slide inside of the neck? So yeah, I think there's a lot of innovation around that. My question is, you mentioned at the end, like I work for a packaging converter in the United States. So how does somebody like me, who maybe has, we have flexographic presses, we have offset presses, and then we also have digital presses within your ecosystem of Compack? Is it only web to pack for digital opportunities, or are you trying to drive web to pack for flexo, gravure, offset, whatever, web print, all of it?
It's not connected just to digital, but digital assets actually help you to bring a product faster to the market, and without minimum order quantity. So if you know how to do it with your conventional presses, and for example, ganging different jobs on one file in order to improve your run lengths, so this is good, because also, when we talked about Simpress and others, it's a combination of conventional and digital. It's not just digital, but you need to make sure that you understand how to do it correctly with conventional presses, because it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Okay. So for packaging converters who want to connect with you and learn about Compack, you'll take any and all packaging manufacturers to see where it fits, or if and when. I know you've been kind of rolling it out through different substrates. So just curious who should be reaching out to you. And then for consumers, is there a like you talk about, Shutterfly and Simpress and some other companies, are there sizes of consumers that you think with where Compack's out right now, you would say, this is really who we're trying to, to really launch our platform with? Or are there industries? Who are some people that would be great to talk with you? Because I know it's been what, a month, 2 months that the site's been live?
Yeah, 1 month.
Okay, so who are some people that you're looking for from the customer segment?
Mostly the target is to talk with brands and designers. So the platform is B2B mostly. And the brands, the small, medium brands, actually, they need it very much because they have different product and a small amount of each product. So for them, it will be great that they can order 100, 500 boxes and get it in a few days. And the same for the designers. Actually, this platform enable graphic designer to be a packaging designer, because if you can get the structural design done automatically, so then you need to put the graphic on top of it. So I think that this is also an opportunity for graphic design to start and learn how to design the graphic for packaging also.
Yeah, sounds like you and Kevin need to connect then, and see how you can align both what you both are doing. So my last question, and then we'll get on to Francois, who's joined us, is what is the best way for people to connect with you and Compack if they would need to reach out?
Yeah, one of the options, of course, is through the website, through a Compack platform. And also in my presentation, I have a mail that they can reach out to me directly.
Okay. And what's the website for your Compack platform?
It's com.pack.net.
What was that? I'm sorry.
com-pack.net.
Okay, dash. Okay. Gotcha. I thought you said com dot. I was like, oh, that's an interesting one. com-pack.net. Well, Aviv, thanks so much for presenting and continuing to push the industry forward. I know I've certainly appreciated listening and getting to know you a little bit better. So if anyone's got any questions, I'm sure you can also find him on LinkedIn as well at Aviv Ratzman. So thanks a lot. And Francois, you were finally released from the waiting room, I understand.
Correct. Oh, if you can hear me?
We can, yeah. You were quarantined for a little bit. We had to wait to see if we could let you in. Perfect. Well, Francois is we've never met. This is our first time meeting. So I've got I see on your LinkedIn profile that you're at Bopst. Is that still correct? I don't want to assume.
Correct. Yeah, working for Bopst, yes.
Okay, very good. And coming from Switzerland, yes?
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Have not been there yet, but looking forward to getting over there at some point in time. Been all over Europe, but not to Switzerland, which is a shame. So you are going to be talking about reducing waste and increasing efficiency. And so I'm going to let you do a significantly better job of introducing yourself than I've done. And we can get into your presentation. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So thank you very much for the introduction. So let me know if you can see the screen properly.
I can see your presentation.
Okay, good. So I have been invited by you, and thank you very much for the invitation to cover digitalization, sustainability overall, and reducing waste specifically, and increasing efficiency. So I have been working in the packaging industry for many years. So I joined Bobst 3 years ago. Before that, I was with HP, driving the digital transformation and the adoption of new technologies. And the journey is not over. So the industry, the packaging industry is evolving. And the last presentation was really talking about Web 2 Pack. And I personally believe this is the future. It's still the very, very beginning, but new business models are going to emerge. So if we look at digitalization and sustainability, I mean, in my view, this is two sides of the same coin. And on the left, you see the challenges, what's driving us. We have e-commerce booming. We have the growth of plastic. And we have a strong demand for more sustainability. And all the brand owners, if you ask them what they want, it is agility and sustainability, nothing else. And then on the right side, we see what digitalization has already done in printing and converting. So that has been mentioned by previous speakers. So typically in digital, no plates, no setup, typically less paper consumption because the setup time is not required. Less energy consumption overall. It's on demand, so you basically produce only what you need, no stock wasted. You have typically a quite high productivity, and then lower cost and higher quality. And with higher quality, you have less waste. So the challenge now, and I'm going to really go through the benefits that digital can bring to sustainability. So we have to reduce waste. We all need to know that 40% of the plastic produced is coming from packaging. So packaging generates 40% of all the plastics of the world. And for that, we need to generate less waste. You need to move to monomaterial plastics. What does it mean, monomaterial? Monomaterial, I will not go into the details, but you will get it very quickly. On the left, this is a classic pouch for potato chips. So you will have two types of polymer, like PET and PE, but the problem is that you cannot recycle any of them, because as soon as you mix two types of substrates, they can't go into the recycling process. So what we are proposing is to move to monomaterial, like two types of BOPP, both with the proper ink and adhesives in the middle, and that will move into the recycling bin. Another example, it is if you have 3 layers type of material where you need really to protect the goods very effectively against the light or against the air. So you will have eventually 2 types of PET, but then you have PE in addition. So we are now moving to 2 only substrates with the new alu-bound metallizing technology in the middle, and then your potato chips will be packed properly. So this is something that is today happening. Something to reduce waste dramatically, and this is available for digital printing, for flexo, for gravure. It is the so-called extended color gamut, and the one we have at Bobst is called 1ECG. So by doing that, you don't need to mix ink anymore to get colors. You can get all the Pantones you want, just mixing the basic colors. So no ink mixing. You can do it with CMYK, 4 colors, or you can do it with CMYK plus 1, 2, or 3 colors. And if you do CMYK plus 3, then you can reach 95% of all the Pantones. And the benefits are clear: less ink waste, less ink storage, less waste in setup time. So that's also a recommendation to reduce waste. So now if we look at increasing efficiency, it's all about digitalization. And if we look today at cutting device, of course, the previous speaker was referring to digital laser cutting, what Icon does very successfully. At the same time, not everything can be done with laser cutters, because if you have big jobs, you still do with die cutters. But now the die cutters are also digitalized. Like the technology called tooling, it's very new. So you have a special chip on the tools, and it will automatically set up the machines. And by doing that, you will only need 15 minutes to have the make ready. And this is extremely important to reduce time, but also to reduce waste, because the setup is more precise. If we look now at packaging, the challenge of packaging is to deliver the goods properly protected. And the printers, the converters, they need to deliver zero-fault packaging to the packers, because if the packers are getting bad boxes, then it is generating waste. So a good way to reduce waste is to move to the so-called zero-fault packaging. And that can be achieved with specific technologies. And one that you can think about is called Bobst IQ Check. This is a specific system in your packaging production line that will help you to find out the potential damages on a given box. It will see damages on the carton itself. They will see issues in printing quality. It will check the text. It will check the registration. So these kind of things are new. It is built on machine learning, artificial intelligence, and this is generating great results. Another example is the digitalization of the full production process for labels. Like short runs are growing in labels, and a good way to reduce waste is to digitalize the printing process. So you can print any labels from 1 to 1 million. It depends on what you need. And you can do that on the Master DM5 of Bobst with Flexo modules for whatever you want to do in Flexo. Could be priming, white ink. Then you have in the middle a digital inkjet press for 6 colors. And then after that, you can put some varnish, you can put some cold foil, and then you have integrated the rotary die cutting. So you have all-in-one, all-in-line, and it will help you to reduce waste dramatically versus traditional processes. Another way to reduce waste and to be more effective is by connecting your machines so that the setup time is optimized. And if you are in corrugated business, then you can use machines like the Flexo Folder Gluer 8.20 of Bobst. That type of machine is really designed to reduce the waste and to make sure that all the boxes have the right quality. So all this progress, you can achieve them through connecting, digitalizing, and so on. Another one, this is the so-called digital inspection table. To make sure that what you print, or what you cut, or what you fold is properly done, you have digital quality control systems. So it's basically a pretty large table where you can put your jobs, and then you compare the physical jobs to the original PDF. So you compare digital in a digital way. And by doing that, you will reduce product recalls, waste, and setup time. So this is also new digital solutions that are now entering into the production floor. So if we want to summarize, and then I will be able to take all the questions, where do we stand with digitalization and sustainability, and where do we want to go? So in large format printing, in photo, in commercial printing, it's done. Everything is digital in the majority. It is dramatically accelerating in labels and in textile. So in labels, to give you an idea, we are talking about already 30% adoption for digital label printing. And then for the future, corrugated, folding carton, flexible packaging will go there. And it will take some time. So I'm not telling you it will happen in the next 2 years, but in the next 5 years, you will see dramatic changes as we saw in the previous industries I was mentioning. And now if we look at printing and converting, the future resides in connectivity. First you connect, then you digitalize everything that has to be digitalized. Can be the workflow, can be the printing process, can be the converting process. And then you automate as much as possible to reduce human errors. And you do that to deliver through sustainability. And what we believe at Bobst, it is that we can shape the future of the packaging world by connecting effectively all the stakeholders that we have in packaging production. And Web2Pack that was presented just before me is connecting the brand owners. They could be small or big. In that case, it was mainly small. They can decide by themselves what they want, and then the box will be on the shelf. So digital is really enabling all the stakeholders to talk together. All the machines can be also connected, and the setup is optimized, enhanced, improved. And once you do that, at the end, you can deliver beautiful boxes, packages of all kind, with graphics on it or without, anywhere in the world, cost effectively, and very important, in a sustainable way. So that's pretty much the presentation I was willing to deliver to you. The digitalization, this is my personal experience, will be the path to a more sustainable future, and less plastic with mono material substrates for the plastic that will remain. So thank you very much for listening and taking the time to discover a very interesting world going through transformation. And if you have questions, I'm available.
Awesome. Thanks, Francois. That was great. I know I have a lot of questions. I don't know if anybody else will enjoy them, but I'll just go ahead and ask them because I've been following the connection between sustainability and the digital world and packaging for quite some time here in the United States. I think it's fascinating. This was a mind-blowing statistic for me, and the need for a lot of true sustainability initiatives like reduction in waste, monomaterial, lightweighting, these kinds of things. The reason for this is our population in the world has really exploded. I saw it's like 1800, there was around 1 billion people. 1900, there's 1.6 billion people. So in 100 years, we added 600 million people. Between 1900 and 2000, we got up to 6 billion people. And by 2050, we're expecting 10 billion people. So you think about the impact that has on our globe. We have to innovate on these things. We actually don't have a choice because we have finite resources. So I think that the conversation, in my opinion, has moved in the packaging space from, well, what can we do to look green? Well, you can't market on your packaging necessarily. Well, we reduced waste on setup time at our folding carton, our folding carton company. That's not a nice, easy thing to market. But it is actually a really fantastic thing to do. So we've moved beyond what can I market as sustainable to what is driving, reduction in carbon emissions. You've got, Unilever just announced, I think it was in July, that they were going to label 70,000 products with a carbon rating, that then packaging companies can participate with Unilever on driving that down, whether it's monomaterials, whether it's, reduction in setup times, whatever it is. That'll be a great way to capture it, I think. So I was right with you. I'm excited to see, what Bobst is doing to drive a lot of that change. I'm curious on the monomaterial side for brands and flexible packaging companies. How do you balance the current? It's not always in conflict, but we'll say that there's a conflict between what extends the shelf life of the product versus what is maybe a reduction in plastic. What are some recommendations that you might give to brand owners who have to walk through both of those things?
So there are some products, definitely need to be packed with plastic. There's no debate. But you have some products, they can move away from plastic without impacting the shelf lives. Like if you look at peanuts, when I was your age, peanuts were packed in folding carton, and it was fine, and I never died because I'm still here. So we have today some goods where brand owners are exaggerating the protection, they are exaggerating the usage of plastic. And why? Because plastic is light and it's very cheap and it's convenient and blah, blah, blah. So some brand owners need to clean their floor by making some decisions themselves, not using plastic at all. But for the rest, for what is remaining in plastic packed, they can use thinner substrates and they need to move to monomaterial. So monomaterial will enable an easier recycling. However, when you claim it is recyclable, it doesn't mean it will be recycled. So you need to find out the proper way to do it. And in the US, something you do very well, it is that you put value on the cans. So the 5 cents on an aluminum can, it is ensuring that that specific can will go through the recycling bin. And we need to do the same for monomaterial plastic, like PET and others. So when we are going to have more monomaterial plastics, we need to educate the entire population to do the proper recycling. And the brand owners, unfortunately, they don't do it. This is more for governments to manage it. So the recycling of plastic, it's a complicated topic because brand owners need to do something, consumers need to do something, but also the states, the governments, they need also to do something. They need to build the infrastructure. And these monomaterial type of substrates, they need to have a value. And then they will enter into the proper recycling chain. And for the rest, I mean, folding carton, corrugated, this is fantastic. So in folding carton and corrugated, we need to continue to recycle as much as we can. We just need to avoid shipping here. When you have big boxes with nothing inside, it still happens with Amazon quite often. We need to make sure that you have the right boxes. But if you work with the Bob's packers, converters, they will make it for you. So we at Bob's, we can make any boxes, any shape, any type, anywhere in the world with opening, closing, specially designed for e-commerce. But some brand owners are simply lazy and some governments are too nice. They don't put tough rules when people make mistakes. That's my view.
Yeah, I think there's such a complicated topic. Even here in the United States, it's only a few states that pay 5 cents for the can or whatever. It's not every single state. I live in Utah as an example, and we don't have curbside recycling of glass. So you'll hear like Aviv even mentioned it, who just had to step away, but he even mentioned glass is very recyclable. It should be, but there are some places where the infrastructure is not there. And so there's no demand for recycled glass. And so while chemically it can be broken down and be recycled, it's not getting recycled. It's going to the landfill. So now you're transporting a heavy material and blah, blah, blah. And it's been interesting to watch some of the chemical recycling movements that are coming up. And I think that's something to keep an eye on as well, who are basically saying it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a carbon-based product, we can break it down to its natural environment, or we can break it down to its elements, and then repurpose it and reuse it for other things. I know we've seen a lot of that in the I think it's the PET market. We're getting a lot of chemical recycled types things. So we did have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, PET is only one. So the problem we have is that we are today recycling PET properly. I mean, properly, at least we do something. But the other monomaterials that we are going to create in the future, we need to build the proper chain.
Correct.
Recycle them, and they need to have the right value. But go ahead with your question.
Yeah, there's a question that came in. What is your advice for companies that are very traditional and are struggling to keep up with digital, I'm guessing it's digital packaging trends?
So companies that are very traditional, it's okay to be very traditional, no mistake with that. So for these companies, what I'm recommending, it is for them to create a daughter company, something fairly small, where they will embrace digital. Because very traditional companies, the people that are working there, they have it fairly complicated, fairly challenging to go into the new digital world. But if you create a small department just focusing on digital, then you can do it. It is a different skill set, different mindset, different everything. And it's very difficult to jungle between the two. So better create your own digital department.
Gotcha. And that would be, so I'm thinking about even the brand owners. Do you work a lot with brand owners, or do you primarily work with converters to then drive that demand?
So we work primarily with converters. Converters are our clients. We have a lot
Right.
worldwide, all over the world, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, from A to Z. But we have also direct contacts with major brand owners, because the brand owners are telling us, hey, we want more sustainable packaging. We want this, we want that. We want special folding carton boxes. We want to transport hazardous goods. What kind of boxes do you offer? And the brand owners, they are all telling us they want more folding carton type of boxes. They want to move away from plastic as much as possible. So we need to come with new clever solutions, reducing some parts in plastic, putting more carton instead. You have sometimes packages that you can fragment, and you can have one part is plastic, the other part is folding carton. So the brand owners right now, they all pay a lot of attention to sustainability. And what I told you before, the brand owners, they have only two challenges: becoming more agile, responding to new consumer trends, and more sustainable. All of them, small and big. And the good news is that the small ones are typically more agile than the big one. And the big one now, they are taking sustainability very seriously. They make a lot of commitment.
Yep. All right, another question. Circularity in packaging has become a pretty hot topic. I've actually got behind me, I've got the Future of Packaging book, where Tom Zaki talks a lot about circularity in packaging. And so somebody just asked, how have you tried to create a circular economy with BOPS, where you are involved in the recycling process or controlling the end user? That was the question.
It's a good question. But circular economy, by definition, it is involving different stakeholders. And BOPS is only one of them. Mm-hmm. So what we do, we have machines able to process recycled substrates. So we have in corrugated or in folding carton, we can print, cut, fold, and glue regular, let's say, new substrates and also recycled substrates. And we know our clients, the big ones like WestRock in the US, it's a huge company for corrugated. They are doing what we call from bin to bin in 14 days. So in 14 days, your corrugated boxes will be new. So, and we are helping them by having machines able to process recycled materials. But the true closed loop in packaging, the circular economy, this is involving the consumers, the brand owners, the converters, the packers. Everyone has a role to play. Yeah. So we do all we can, adjusting our machines to these new special substrates that are coming from the circular economy.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, it's not, I think that because, you and I both work in the packaging industry, when people hear about this, they automatically assume that we can control all of it. And at some point in time, you have to say, I think you did a much better job than I did, but you have to be able to say, well, we will offer and do our part, And we will continue to try to drive change as much as we can. And at some point in time, the consumer is also going to have to adjust and adapt to whatever, whatever their idea. So at small microcosm of a level, when the COVID pandemic hit, my wife and I changed from going to the grocery store and buying milk, and we worked with a local dairy to deliver our milk. So all of our packaging was staying circular. All of the milk was in our, there was a circularity of sorts to how everything was operating. But to take that and scale it up to a really big level is a complicated. I'm not saying it's not worth doing. I'm just saying it's not as simple as flipping on a switch and saying, well, we're all going to be circular now.
So I think that consumers can play a bigger role. And I think that when you go shopping, you have some type of packages, you should simply refuse to buy them, because this is overpacked, this is crazy, this is full of plastic. And I'm speaking for myself now, as a consumer, when I go shopping, not as a Bob's employee, I refuse to buy olives in a very big plastic boxes that I could keep 20 years as a Tupperware. So this is not going to fly, because I can pack the same olives in a very thin plastic foil. Of course I need plastic because it's olives, but they could be in a very, very thin, super thin foil. And it has nothing to do with that crazy thick plastic that I don't need. So consumers, we have our responsibility, but everyone has. And I really hope that the mentality will change, that new technologies will help us to change, because right now, plastic production is 40%. I mean, plastic in packaging is 40% of all the plastic we produce on the planet, and we are swimming in it. And this is a mess.
Yeah. More questions coming in. So obviously everybody likes your accent as much as I do. I think that's what it is.
Thank you.
I love how you say carton. Does Bobst sell their machinery to consumers?
No. If you want to buy one, we will sell it to you. But our machines are very expensive. They are big machines. You can see it on the Bobst website. Just type bobst.com. But these machines are for converters, for packaging converters. And they are designed, they are very heavy, and they are designed to last for 20, 30, 40 years. And they produce the boxes you have behind you, below your yellow and white shoes. This is probably done on the Bobst machine. Probably 50% of the packages worldwide that you touch, of the corrugated boxes and folding carton, 50% of them were produced on the Bobst machine at a given moment of time, but you can't see it. It's not written on it.
Yeah. What do you think is the number one mistake going back to digital? What's the number one mistake you see converters make with their digital assets?
That I can tell you. I know it very well. The number one mistake is you take an existing job that is working very well in analog or conventional, and you move it to digital. If you take the same exact job that has been optimized for conventional printing, and then you move it to digital, it's a big mistake. So digital, you have to go after new type of jobs, things that are not designed well for conventional. So it's not about shifting A to B. No. It is keeping A, and then all these new short runs that everyone is talking about, all these new short runs, you move them to B, and B means digital. And once you do that, you are fine in business. I saw it myself in labels. And now in labels, much more is done in digital, and specifically all these short runs, ultra short runs, but also some medium-sized type of jobs. So that's the number one mistake that people do. And the second mistake, it is that you need to hire new people for digital. The old one that have never worked with digital printing, if they are 45 and above, they won't make it in digital. I'm sorry. This is just, digital is another world. So it's like if you go to China, if you don't speak Chinese, good luck, it will not work. So moving to digital, it's the same. You need to have the mentality, you need to embrace digital as it is. And so the second mistake is that you can't convert your old conventional stuff into a digital world. It does not work. So therefore, the first advice I gave you, it's okay, if you want to move to digital because you are very traditional, create your own little structure with digital, and then it will work.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, if you've ever been in a, if you've ever seen like a Tesla repair shop versus a traditional,
Absolutely the same.
gas repair shop. You walk in, it's like you're in an Apple store. There's people sitting around with computers. It's basically just software repair with maybe you have to know how to change some tires. Would you say that that's kind of a similar comparison?
It's a good comparison. I like it. It's a clever one, because this is what it is. Because in digital, the only thing you are talking about all the time, it is digital files, workflow, PDFs, and this and that. You don't worry so much like extended color gamut. It's a basic there. It's automatic. You get all the colors you want on your digital machine. In the conventional world, wow, you are talking about cliche. You are going to talk about setup time. You are going to the world, and both worlds will coexist. One will not kill the other. That's also another common mistake. It is not like a fight. No, both of them will evolve, and over time, one will decline and the other one will grow. And this is the Darwin law. That's basically what it is. So, but it is not a fight. And over the last 15 years that I have been in that industry, specifically at the beginning, I saw a lot of influencers and customers and competitors always talking about digital against conventional. No. This is it's like you have different type of cars, very small, medium, large, very large, pickup and no pickup, and this and that, 2-seaters, 4-seaters, and more. It all depends on the usage. So it is the same. Electrical car against thermic motor cars. It's not fight. One technology will phase out and the other one will take off. That's what it is. It's more natural evolution.
This is my question. I know we're still waiting for Hery to join, and we'll see if he's able to jump on. But my last question, I'm curious, this is totally personal, because I have a little bit of experience with the hybrid printing model. I know you showed the inkjet station, the 6-color inkjet, with kind of on a flexo-ish platform with, cold foil and things like that. How has that been going? I know that there was this entrance into the marketplace that this was going to be I'm not saying for BOPS, I'm just saying for everybody, the speeds. And how has that been going for BOPS, and what's the adaptation been like for converters with that platform?
So it's a very good question, Adam. I mean, you are getting it. So that new platform is not new on the market as such. The concept has been around for 3-4 years. The challenge it is that people are a little bit scared. And they are scared because of the human factor. They don't know who is going to operate that machine. Do you have a kind of flexo type of guy operating the machine, or you have a digital guy operating the machine? So the truth, and I am very honest with you, the truth is that to operate a fully digitalized machine, having some flexo type of capabilities, you need to have a pretty well-trained operator, someone that is really savvy, understanding a little bit of the everything. This is probably the biggest hurdle. But if you look at print shops, they want one machine to do the everything cost effectively, a kind of hybrid machine. In fact, we don't call them hybrid anymore at BOPS. I don't like the word hybrid. We call them all-in-one.
All-in-one, okay.
All-in-one, these all-in-one presses, they will do all what is required to be done. And you can print from 1 label to 1 million. It depends on what you need. If you want a very short run, you just activate the inkjet print module. And if you go for a longer run where you need special varnish, special coat foil, like on wine labels, then you will activate the special flexo modules. The good news of combining both is that you are cost effective, very much cost effective.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it. I like the all-in-one. I like that terminology a little bit better, and I'm sure that we could spend a lot more time digging into, the toner versus the inkjet and how is that all working out.
Toner, forget about toner. It's easy. Toner is something of the past. Easy answer.
All right. We'll let you fight that out with all of your former HP colleagues, who actually do a lot of work in inkjet.
No, it's inkjet. HP, they don't have toner. They have electrophotography from Indigo, and they have inkjet.
Yep.
This is great technology.
Indeed. Well, Francois, I'm happy to have met you, and I'm glad that you were able to share and speak. So, we've lost you on the video, but
but I'm still back. I was just
okay.
Say bye and to let the next speaker come on.
Yeah. So what's the best way, Francois, for somebody to get in touch with you if they've got questions?
Oh, for us, it's very easy. I mean, you can send me an email directly to me, or you can go on the Bobst website, which is bobst.com, and then you can fill out a little form, contact us, and then we will get back to you. Any kind of questions, we will reply back, bobst.com, or you can reply directly to myself, which is my first name, .martin@bobst.com.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks, Francois. Appreciate you sharing with us. And we've got our next and final speaker came in at the right before the bell rung. So well done. We've got Henry. Is it Hery Christian Henry? How do you prefer to be introduced?
Either is good. It's just in terms of travel, it's always easier not to be called Hery Henry. You can imagine the question is your name really Henry? Get that a lot. So, but it is actually my real name, children. Yes, my name is Hery Henry.
I like it. There are, I'm a big basketball fan. I live over here in the United States. I watch a lot of basketball, and my favorite team is the Denver Nuggets, and we have a player called Bol, B-O-L. Yeah, so you've got some friends.
Fantastic brand name. I can I added the Christian in. So straight out of uni, eons ago, 15 years ago, I was not able to find a job with that name. So the moment I added my middle name in, I started getting responses to my inquiries. And so I had it for a while, but now I've been in business for so long, it doesn't matter anymore. I am Hery Henry.
All right.
Given name. So
well, Hery, thanks for being on. You're gonna chat about what do I got here? Flexible packaging and a quest for zero carbon emissions. So I'm excited to hear about that, and I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can get rolling.
So am I good to share a presentation?
You know what? I'm going to let you do it, but I don't have the full controls to give you full permission.
So
I think you can.
I'm just going to keep it brief then. Well, just a question. If this was the original task that I was given, so I was to bring a PowerPoint presentation. I have one with me now. Does that make sense, or doesn't it? Because we can also have a panel discussion. I'm comfortable in being the axis of evil, being big plastics, and actually being the first plastic packager, having declared that we will be carbon zero within 5 years. So either way you want to run this, I can answer questions which might be more interactive, or I can show you a slide deck.
Let's get into the slides, and then questions are kind of coming in, and I'll be formulating some questions as well, and then we'll have and maybe you and Francois can fight about monomaterials, and it'll be fun.
We're not going to fight. Actually, I think we both love monomaterials. I'm well familiar. WePack is well familiar with Bobst, of course. So
sure.
I think we're good friends. So you can see my screen now, presumably.
I can. It's great.
So I mean, we were the first flexible packaging company that said it doesn't. We're going to declare we're going to be carbon zero by 2025. Do you think, Adam, do you think that's a stretch goal? Do you think that's impossible? What's everyone think? I mean, I usually ask that question at this stage.
I would, from my perspective, the answer is it's a good stretch goal for sure. It doesn't sound like an impossible goal by any means. I think probably, and I'll be interested to kind of dig into this presentation with you, which is how is it measured and how are you going to get there? Because there's been some companies here who I think have marketed to that end, but it's like, well, have you really, and how is that audited? So I don't know. I think
Fantastic.
it's
okay,
awesome.
I'll answer all those questions in a second. Let me just, I'll have a go. So we declared that goal. I mean, where we came from was we were quite sick of being. I went to universities to present about the good sides of packaging, and I was regularly booed. And I'm a confident presenter. I don't mind that. I often opened with, "Hi, we're the axis of evil. We're big packaging." But I mean, at the end of the day, the students did have a point, and so does everyone else. We're boiling the planet, and we're not stopping that fast enough. And the starting point for us was we started thinking about, we have had sustainable solutions for a long time. People just don't buy them. I mean, so we looked at it from the angle of, why do people not care about the environment? And people actually don't, because if they did, they, for instance, use Ecosia instead of Google. Every time you Google something, pardon the pun, with Ecosia, you plant trees. And it uses the Bing search engine, so it's the Microsoft search engine is just as good, but people don't use it because they use something else. If we really cared about the environment, we'd offset our carbon footprint. You can go to compensate.com, you calculate your personal carbon footprint. I do that for my family. My family is carbon neutral. If we really cared, we would do that. It's the price of around 5 pints of beer. In London, if you're from Scandinavia, it's only 2 pints. If you're in the US, it's somewhere around 7, maybe, depending on where you're from. But people don't do that. And so what we needed to reverse engineer was to understand why people don't. And because at the same time, what we see a lot, and I'm going to get in hot water with some of you speakers here for sure. I've seen over the last couple of years, the anti-plastic sentiment propel market alternatives like biodegradables, home compostables, and others. And we looked at them as well, and we said, well, the problem with these is a little bit like solar panels in the 90s. They're not very effective now. They might be in the future, but right now we're going to make the problem worse, because at the end of the life cycle, they're very good for the environment, but over the complete life cycle, their environmental footprint is actually very high, much higher than many traditional packaging materials. And at the same time, society says, all over the world, by the way, this is from the Innova database, so they're very holistic. People are aware of the problem of plastic waste. People care quite a bit, and this is a British quite a bit, not an American one, by the way, so quite a bit means a lot. And they're willing to pay extra for more sustainable packaging. But do they really? They don't, not really, that's our evidence. So what is the problem here really? The problem is people don't buy what they don't understand, and people don't understand that which is not transparent. If you go into a shop, it's almost impossible to understand what packaging is better than other packaging by comparison. It's very, very difficult, and you're not gonna turn around every piece of coffee in a supermarket shelf to see which one might just be that bit better for the environment than the other. So
I'll give you an example there real quickly. I bought some coffee the other day, and the packaging said 60% compostable, 40% polyethylene, and I was like, "How is your packaging 60% compost? That should say 0% compostable, made from a material that could be composted if it was not laminated to poly."
Well, good luck.
Anyway,
it's just good luck with sorting that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not easy for people. And then at the same time, we looked at it and we said, okay, so one thing we need to do is we decided we want to be carbon neutral. So what we need to do is we need to, and then the other thing was we said 2025 because we saw a number of, for instance, a year and a half ago, a number of car manufacturers said, a big German one said, we're going to be carbon neutral in 2050. And I back then I Googled the picture of their board of directors, and to be frank, none of them will be alive by 2050. So what I'm trying to say with that is, and I'm not just playing on their age, but when you put a target that far out, saying that you're going to be carbon neutral in 2050 means I'm going to wait until 2040 and I hope that technology or the world has solved this problem for me. So what we did instead, because the quality of your question informs the quality of your answer, we said, what would it take to be carbon neutral in 2025? And we put our best minds to try and answer that question. So what we did first was we calculated our carbon footprint, and we went all the way from scope 1 to scope 3, all 3 scopes. We calculated the carbon footprint of the raw materials going to our factories and our warehouses, the carbon footprint of our manufacturing, the carbon footprint of our logistics, plus then admin, sales, and business travels for guys like me. And this was not without complexity, may I add. So we have 1,400 different raw materials that translate into 3,500 different semi-finished products. So this was quite a task, and it took us close to a year to break down the carbon footprint all the way to the product level. And of course, because we're not Boeing with their 737 MAX, we asked for third-party verification. So we have someone who verifies these for us so that we don't do that ourselves. So we can argue with confidence. And then what do? I mean, this was the easy bit in a way. Now we know what the factual situation is. Now we know what product is better than the next one. And what now? So we said, okay, what'd be really easy is we just close all the plants and become a carbon zero consultancy. But that got us in hot water with our labor unions in some countries. And to be frank, that wasn't very satisfactory. We've got 11 plants across the world, and we love them. We love our people. So that clearly wasn't an option. So we said, okay, let's set out the carbon zero roadmap and see what we need to do. And can you guess which of these parts of our carbon footprint is 81%? Which one's the big one? Any of you?
I don't know. I've got
it's a main question. I always get people with this. So because people think about things like business travel and logistics, and actually for us, it's raw material, because
raw materials,
most of our raw material is so people, insiders know this, of course. So raw material, plastic is oil-based, crude oil-based most of the time, or has been in the past. So raw material is the biggest part. It's around 80% now. Energy is the second biggest parts, and then it's logistics and the supply chain, about 5%. Energy was easy. We started already, and we said, okay, easy one, low-hanging fruit. We're going to change all our plants to renewable energy use. The Nordics have already done this, for instance, water energy mostly. And then we defined a number of projects for all the other areas. And in raw materials, of course, where the battle is won and lost, we needed to find ways to replace the crude oil-based materials with bioplastics as one big step. So what have we done since then? So this one was midway through last year. We started with the strategy. So first of all, we came up with an app, a software, which allows us to compare, which we input our customers' products. The tool suggests alternatives and then visualizes the difference in environmental footprint, and thus shows you how much potential you have for reducing the amount of plastic you have, the carbon footprint, the water usage, and other things. Another thing, sorting, of course. We are part of the Holy Grail 2.0 with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. We have a wonderful technology called Digimark. It's a well-nigh invisible barcode. It covers the packaging we embed during the printing process, which means that instead of one barcode, the whole package is covered with it. And this was agreed by the European Union to be the best sorting technology out there. It has a very high level of accuracy. And of course, it gives you all kinds of funny, gimmicky options, because you can embed all kinds of information in that barcode, from recipes to origin to what have you. And then, of course, I mean, the big one was we needed to change our portfolio. So in all our different product categories, we needed to start having reduced material, so less plastics portfolios. We needed to have products that are recyclable or from recycled materials. We have renewable materials, so that's the biomaterials, and of course the redesigned materials, which are really truly special. So I have an example of those in a second. In terms of renewable materials, for instance, we have our new flow packs, which are 60% paper, available immediately. So they were an easy one, FSC certified paper as well. But then in redesigning plastic as a whole, as a material, we partnered up with a small Finnish company called Woodley, who basically make plastic that looks like plastic, that protects like plastic, has the same puncture resistance, But if you're a crazy marketing team like my guys, you can set it on fire and it smells like wood smoke because it's actually made of up to 80% wood. So new materials as well, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. And we're not a tiny company. In Europe, we're around 450 million revenue. So it is big enough to be an issue and big enough for us to not move incredibly quickly unless we really focus the whole company on it. And this is one of the things that we've discussed, or these are a few of the things we've discussed doing. In conclusion, one of the nicest things about this has been that because we've reversed engineered what we need to do, we now know what it takes in order to get to that goal. But perhaps the nicest thing has been that around 2 years ago, when I tried to hire anyone under 45, I had 2 jobs out, manager positions as well in my organization. I got 0 applications. Last year, after we launched our strategy, I had a digital marketing manager position open and 127 people applied, and I ended up hiring 2.5, so 2 immediately and 1 later on, because they were all high profile candidates. So with a strategy like this, an old company like ours, 116 years old, can now finally hire Generation Y. And that'll be all from me.
That's great. I like the Gen. I've also heard iGen. That's another terminology that I've heard recently. Gen Z. I get lumped in with the millennials, even though I'm kind of like, I do. Yeah, I'm 1980. So like.
Oh, we're the same year then.
There you go.
Excellent
so
year.
It's a great year. I'll be 40 in about a month. So
December for me. So scary times.
I'll let you know how it goes. I wanted to dunk a basketball. I'm only 5'10". I wanted to dunk a basketball again. It's not happening. My knees are not cool.
So I live in Europe. So my excuse is we prefer football or soccer, as you call it.
Yeah, that's true. Although I did hear, well, that's another conversation. Which team do you support?
Manchester United. Let's not get into that.
So you work in plastics and you support Man U. You got a lot of enemies.
Yeah, I do. So any questions around the topics or anything that I've said?
It doesn't look like. I mean, I have a slew of questions. So it looks like you've got to leave here in about 5 minutes or so. One of the questions I had when you mentioned a couple of sites at the beginning. Was it Ecosia?
Yeah.
As a search engine, and then Compensate was another one. Those are, to be fair, like I work in the packaging industry. I do a lot of work around sustainability. Never heard of those, so thank you for that.
They're fun. I mean, we share them with our workforce because, of course, when we align around a big topic like carbon zero, we wanted it to be felt across the organization and all things. And we obviously don't go, we compensate business travel. We obviously don't go to people and say, and preach and say, you should compensate your carbon footprint. I see you eat a lot of red meat on your weekends on Instagram. You're evil.
Right.
That's not what this is about. I think it's 2020. I think there's so much more good stuff out there than people are aware. So for instance, I live in London. I have a fairly active lifestyle. I don't have a car, but I fly a lot privately as well. And so we're on an island. It's difficult to get out. It's 30 minutes by flight to Amsterdam, but it'll take me all day if I go by car and train. So I've decided to compensate, and I was surprised how little it costs and how much advice it gives you in terms of how you can reduce the amount you have to pay. So now I actually have a monetary value, which I'm trying to reduce every month. Which is a lot more tangible than sort of trying to find compostable coffee packaging in a supermarket shelf.
Yeah, right.
That said, sorry, just to add to that. That said, though, I keep razzing on the problem with choosing the right kind of packaging or sustainable products. I mean, we need massive help in terms of clarity and labeling. I mean, we've done so much, especially on the EU side, in terms of clarity in terms of labeling of food ingredients. We need the same for packaging.
Yep.
The industry has never. I was just earlier today in the World Circular Economy Forum, which had a big plastic session as well. Lots of EU politicians, lots of national politicians. The story continues to be the same since 2018, since I've attended. The story is always we cannot have more stringent conditions because poor business will suffer, and business will tell politicians, we just need a level playing field. We're not scared about regulation. We're scared about a non-level playing field that is not clear. If you give us a framework that makes sense, and that's the same for all, we will innovate against that. Business is never scared of innovation. No way.
Amen. One question that I had was, you were talking about the plastic that you burned, the woodley that smelled like wood burning. Is that like a cellulose base, or is that the I know that I've seen some like BOPP label that comes from the it's like the lignin or something that comes after. It's the waste that is happening after they're making paper. So it's a cellulose though?
It's cellulose based, and it's a fairly sort of, it's an open secret. For instance, no one knows, not even us as a business partner, we don't know where the production plants are, but it's FSC certified cellulose that is pelletized, and we get the pellets. And one of the beautiful things about that, because we look at the overall carbon footprint. So for instance, if you need to change all of your packaging machines, that's a massive environmental footprint. So the nice thing about these is we get granulate, we get pellets, we turn them into film. We do it with the woodley pellets just as we do it with normal bio-PE or just normal PEPP. So no investments needed. And that's a big catch. So if we need to change the whole infrastructure around packaging, boy, oh boy, we'll be at it for a while, and it'll be very costly for the environment.
Well, we'll need to connect up. There's a company over here in the United States that I'll have to link you up with. They're in the early stages of making cellulose without trees. They're making cellulose from carbon in the atmosphere. So it's actually a carbon negative cellulose. It's super fascinating.
And so is this one, because of the FSC certification, but I'm really happy to actually connect with them. I'd be really interested. And we have a sister company, Winpack, in the US as well, with my counterpart sitting in Atlanta. So we might even be able to visit them and talk about something.
I'll make that connection for sure. Well, I know you're limited here on time. So what's the best way, if people who are listening to the conversation, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and WePack or WinPack, whoever it may be?
So I mean, the standard answer, of course, is always wepack.com. And actually, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. So I'm also head of marketing. So actually, when you go on the contact form, I kid you not, the contact form will actually end up straight in my inbox, in my personal inbox, simply because most of the people who use the contact form, it's 90% spam. And 10% things that are so interesting that it doesn't make sense to sort of make it go slowly through the whole organization. I want those myself. And then, of course, anyone who actually takes out time out of their busy day to listen to a webinar like this, you're very, very welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn directly. I always reply within 24 hours. I'm a massive LinkedIn junkie. I love the way LinkedIn has turned from a networking platform, a jobs platform, to a content platform, more and more, slowly replacing Facebook. So I think the potential's there, and I'm really happy to connect with anyone, talk especially about sustainability and packaging.
Wait, you should accept my request.
Have you sent it already?
It's okay. It's okay. It's not you, it's me. I need to change.
You haven't sent one.
I did, I believe. You know what?
Okay.
I'll resend it. I'll resend
it.
We'll blame COVID.
No, actually, I'll blame all the people that are trying to sell me something. So
I know it's so bad. I try to tell people all the time. I'm like, hey, LinkedIn it's transitioned. You know, it's an influence platform. It's you get killer content on there. I'm a big advocate for LinkedIn. So
actually, it's you who has to accept me. So
what? Okay, we'll figure this out. You and I, we'll figure this out. We'll connect up. I'm excited to carry on the conversation because I think there's a lot here, and we share a lot of similarities. I know you have to run.
I do, and my apologies to everyone who's taken some time out to listen today. I just have another one that I need to brief before I go in. It's past. I have another. Actually, it's 15:15. Sorry, so I've got 6 minutes until I'm on stage again.
Okay, well, we will let you go, but thanks for taking the time out of your day to share with us. We appreciate it, and also to Kevin and Francois and Aviv, who have had to they've had to variously go. I guess I was the only one who got to hang in, but I learned a ton. So
Thank you, Adam.
Hery,
It's been
thank
a
you so
real
much.
pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank you
you
very
coming
much.
on.
And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Definitely, bye. Well, that is going to wrap it up a bit early for our think tank webinar. Thank you to everybody, the Open Packaging Network, for hosting it and kind of putting this on, and for getting the guests and putting it all together and getting it on a live stream. I think it's been fantastic. I took down a ton of notes myself, and just want to encourage everyone to connect up. The packaging industry is a very large, it's almost $1 trillion global industry. It's a large, small world. And so it's a great place to make some really incredible connections, I think. I know I've made a lot of connections, not just through my job at Fortis Solutions Group here in the United States, but also through the podcast network and through LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Find me, Adam Peak. You can also go to adampeak.com, and there's a little tiny contact form, or you can just schedule 30 minutes. And I'd love to chat with you. It's my calendar. It's open. I know it's crazy, but I like to connect up with people and talk about packaging. We hope everyone enjoyed this think tank series. The first one, I know there'll be another one coming up here. The date is to be determined, so please stay tuned, stay connected, and connect up with all of our hosts, Kevin Keating, guests, Kevin Keating, Aviv Ratzman, Francois Martin, and Hery. So thanks to everybody. Is there anything else that I have missed for the OPN folks that you needed to say here at the end? No, I'm getting the head. We're getting a thumbs up. So thanks to everyone watching live. And if you're watching this recorded, you missed